Right, it is time to talk through the big issues of the day. 22 after 8 for your Thursday morning. Joining me, Tim Wilson, the Maxim Institute Executive Director. Good morning, Tim.
Morning.
Good to see you as always.
Good to see you.
And Sarah Henry is here, our Media Editorial Director. Good morning.
Kia ora.
Now, let's start with the UK passport situation. Apparently very hard to work out whether you're a citizen or whether you'll be affected just based on the last interview. But yeah, I guess they're doing everyone, so you just got to put up with it.
It seems like you do, and apparently Canada and Australia have a similar regime. I'm not saying if Canada and Australia do it, it's a great idea, but it's to stop confrontations at the border. If you like, it does seem painful. Like if you've got, if you want to send your New Zealand passport in to get another passport, you have to photocopy your whole passport and send them a copy of that passport to obtain it. And then if you do have a British passport, you have to pay a certificate of entitlement for £500.
Yes, which is an extraordinary amount of money.
As opposed to $37 for the ETA for New Zealanders. So that my takeaway is just stop being a Brit.
Yeah.
Okay, become a Kiwi. It's cheaper. You'll become nicer, and it'll make things a lot easier.
And no whinging.
And
well, there might be
I
some
couldn't
whinging.
possibly comment, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing more niggly than having to deal with travel documentation.
No.
And it does seem an added layer of complexity around that. And I'm not sure that New Zealanders or citizens living in New Zealand are really who they're worried about in the border security. But I get that you can't have one rule for a certain amount of countries and a different rule over here in terms of managing the logistics. But £500, once you convert the New Zealand dollar back that way, that is an extraordinary amount of money. If you're all of a sudden having to go back because family members have died or something like that, I feel for people in that situation.
Yeah. Now, Judith Collins, the Crusher, is leaving politics, which, right time, you know, she's going out on a high. She's been a minister, got a bunch of new stuff, redeemed herself, proved herself once again, and she's off. Tim, pretty combative, you know, pretty controversial, but no one, I think, doubts how smart, well-read and dedicated she was to her portfolios, right?
Yeah, and my impression and the feedback I've had is she was an excellent minister, and I'm going to miss being able to throw around the phrase Crusher Collins because it doesn't sort of go right with the Law Commission. And that sense of crushing boy racers' cars, it harks back to a more visceral, flagrant era, the sort of pre-focus group political era. And it's interesting, actually, because I think we're heading back to that era in a way. We're sort of post-focus group. So guess what? It's back to the future. Crusher Collins, she'll always be with us.
Yeah, she said about the eyebrow thing this morning. She just always been able to do it, and so it became a thing.
Yeah. One of the great things that we get to do within the titles that I look after is that we get to see a more human side of our politicians. And yes, she's got this persona of hard-nosed, crusher, doing all of that. But then she's also really fun and really funny and entertaining. And, you know, you can tell a lot about a person's personality when you do a photo shoot with them and how they react in that situation. Some politicians want to run the show, some surrender to the process completely. And she just loved it. She was entertaining. She had great stories and smart. Smart. I actually own a jumper that she wore in a photo shoot because I liked the jumper so much. So that's my Judith Collins
tribute.
jumper.
And extremely loyal to her staff, as I understand as well, that which is not something that typifies all ministers.
And championed women in Parliament, you know. I hope we get to the day that we don't have to call that out.
Yes. I was reading one of your articles actually this morning on, it's Now to Love, isn't it, the website?
Well, womensday.co.nz.
Oh, is it? And then it feeds you there.
Yeah, were you reading your own one, Ryan?
No. I was reading the one about Judith, and it was about when she met David at university, her husband, now of 40 years. This interview was 10 years ago. That was 30th anniversary. And, you know, it was 1970s New Zealand. He was Samoan Chinese, and her dad did not want...
Eyebrows would have been
raised. Her dad didn't want a bar of it. They had to elope.
Yeah.
Like, he never sanctioned that, you know. And then you look at the Talofa and the flack that she got over that, and you think, man, do people really understand?
That's right. There's a human side to our politicians.
Yeah.
And they need to show it more.
Well, yeah, potentially too. Now, this study on paracetamol and ibuprofen and whether it's safe for babies, for those under 1. Tim, do parents give their, because I know there's Pamol, which is like the young ones, but do parents, I don't imagine they're like doling it out.
No, I mean, it's like if you can't, if you know there's something physically wrong with the baby and they're in pain, you'd probably, you go to the late night chemist and you get it, but then you have to get it back and you've got to get it into a syringe, then you've got to get it into the baby. Just pass the kid to mama and give them a feed, or I understand a tot of whiskey works quite well.
So you didn't give your children paracetamol as babies?
Because one of our Wolfie had silent reflux. I'm pretty sure we would have dispensed it at some point, but he had a much deeper issue. But the question is, what are we going to do? It's 2:38 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Baby screaming. And are you going to get in the car to drive?
You don't have a cupboard full of it? I mean, I just literally cleaned out my medicine cupboard in the weekend and had bottles and bottles of expired Pamol in there from, when the child was young, because, you would do anything in that moment to try and ease the discomfort of a sick child.
Yeah, fair enough.
Getting it into them in the syringe is a different story.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's all good to do for now. It's only a year into the study.
What was it? Eczema and asthma? We'll wait.
So eczema should be sweet.
Yeah.
Asthma, wait.
Yeah.
Autism, ADHD, etc.
Should be fine.
As far as we know, should be fine. See, this is the thing, and this is where Trump gets his traction, because you can't be 100% certain, and you don't know the long-term effects. So there's kind of wriggle room.
Yeah. But that's with any medication. There is always a risk of some kind of side effect.
But isn't that science? People, when people say, the science is settled. Until there's some more science. It unsettles the science.
Yeah, which is the point of science, right? Yeah. It can unseat itself and should unseat itself when something better comes along. Right, finally, property prices. Do you guys have any picks for this year? Because we've had a survey of real estate agents, those in the property sector, 75% think we'll see an increase. ANZ's just downgraded their forecast for this year from 5% to 2%. Tim, what do you reckon is going to happen?
Yeah, look, I think it's time of guarded optimism, but we're looking at what CPI latest was up 3.5%, inflationary pressures. Not sure about whether the Reserve Bank's going to up interest rates. What I was interested about in this latest survey was Christchurch. Christchurch seems to be going off gangbusters, and I do hear murmurings in Auckland. Christchurch. People want to get down there.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Yeah. Don't go. You can't.
Sarah,
well, you could do it remotely.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could.
Why don't you call the show live from Fendleton?
Yeah. Or Sockburn. Sarah, what about you?
Look, I think we're just going to tick along.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any dramatic spikes. I don't think there's going to be any dramatic lows. I think we'd all love it if we were coming out the other side. I'm not sure if we're quite there.
And depends on the geopolitical situation globally, but that's another story.
Well, Trump's about to do a big nasty on Iran, so look out on that front. Good to see you both this morning. Thank you as always. Tim Wilson from the Maxim Institute and Sarah Henry from Our Media. Let's get to